So we have another problem here, restaurant growth, which is a medium level problem. The table name is customer, which has 4 columns: customer ID of type integer, name of type varchar, visited on of type date, and amount of type integer. In SQL, customer ID visited on is the primary key for this table. The table contains data about customer transactions in a restaurant. Visited on is the date on which the customer ID has visited the restaurant, and the amount is the total paid by a customer. You are a customer owner, a restaurant owner, and you want to analyze a possible expansion. There will be at least one customer every day. Compute the moving average of how much the customer paid in a 7 days window, that is current day plus 6 days before. Average amount should be rounded to 2 decimal places. And return the result table ordered by visited on in ascending order. Okay, the result format is in the following example. So we have customer table, which has customer ID, name, visited on, and the amount. As you can see, for the dates, we have the name and the customer ID who has paid a amount. So what we need to do here, we need to simply find the visited on and the amount and average amount for the current visited on date and the 6 days before. That is for a window of total 7 days. That is current date and 6 days before the current date. Okay. So first of all, we need to sum the data for each date. That is the amount paid by the customer and the date on which the amount has been collected. For that, we can simply select visited on, comma, sum of amount as amount from customer group by visited on, also ordered our data by visited on. So we get our data in ascending order of the visited on date. So let's see what we are getting now. Okay, so we have visited on and amount. So we have total of 10 rows. As you can see, for the 10th row, we have a total amount of 280. Okay, because for 2019 110, we have total of 2 rows. That is 130 and 150, because 2 customers have visited on this date. So we have a total sum of 130 plus 150, that is equals to 280. So let's wrap this in a CTE with CTE as. Now what we need to do is simply sum the amount and average amount for a total of for a window of the current date and 6 date before the current date. So as you can see here, that's the total amount, that is 860, is the sum of amount on 2019-17 and 6 days before 2019-17. As you can see, for 2019-17 we have 150, and the total amount that is from the first date till 7th date. So this total amount is equals to 860, and this total amount is divided by 7. So we are getting 122.86 as average amount for the total 7-day window. So for this data, what we can simply write a select visited on, okay, and sum our amount for a window of current date plus 6 days before the current date. So what we can do here, we can simply write a over function here, which is a window function which can be used to sum the data for a window, that is over order by visited on rows between 6 preceding and current row. So what does it mean is that we are simply ordering our data on visited on, and then we will get the sum of the current row and the 6 rows before the current row. That is, we will simply get the sum of the 7th row and all the rows which are coming before the all the 6 rows which are coming before the current date. That is, for let's say for 2019 110, we have one row. We will get the sum of this row and 6 rows before. That is 1 2 3 4 5 6, on the condition that there are the visited on date must be different, because we are grouping our data on the visited on date. Okay, so we will simply name this as amount, and we will also write one more same query here with a little uh, changes. That is, we will simply write average here, and we will simply get the average amount here from CTE. So let us see what we are getting now. But before that, let's check if we are not making any mistakes. Some amount over order by visited on rows between 6 preceding and current row as amount and as average amount. Okay, so let us see what we are getting now. So we have a total of 10 rows. Why? Because it will start the window function from the first date itself. Okay, so we have the first date, that is 2019 11, and the amount is 100 only, because before because the current row is this, and there is no dates or rows before this date, so it will count only this row. And for this row we have only one single row, that is the current row and one preceding, so it will count only 2 rows. For the third row we have only a current row and 2 rows only. Okay, so from the 7th row itself we can see that the answer is matching. The visited on 2019-17 we have amount 860 and the average amount 122.86, but we are getting 122.85. So for that we can simply round our data up to 2 decimal places. Round, comma 2. And one more thing, that we are getting data from the 7th row itself, we need to ignore the first 6 rows. So for that we can use the offset function, which can be only used with the limit function. So what we can do here, we can simply limit our data up to 999 row and offset 6. Instead of 999, you can write any values, but make sure that all the data must be included in this, because we don't want to miss out any values. So for that I am using 999 here. You can write any other value, which but that value must be greater than the total number of rows in the customer table, at least 6 plus greater than the total number of rows. Okay, so let's give it a try. So the answer is correct. Let's submit it. Okay, as you can see, the answer is correct.